People are trying to understand how to relate to darkness as a friend, as something beyond just fear. Especially given that it's weaponized, racialized. We live in a lot of political distortions that we suffer with in our relationships, in our histories, in our bodies. We are the remembering of that, and it's painful how it still continues to play out, how we vilify darkness in every way, in every kind. Because what it represents is the unknown. It represents racism and people with melanin who are darker, who have been vilified, criminalized, exploited. Massively wounded by the vilification of darkness, fears of darkness, and then the abuse of the vessels of darkness, including the bodies who are darker. The parts of the world where darker bodies are. We, as humans, have a night. Everybody sleeps. And what I find profound is who holds my darkness. If I have a partner who holds me through the night, they are holding my darkness. And I'm holding their darkness with our dream bodies. It's substantial commingling when the subconscious dreams there, and the families and their dreams, and these bodies dreaming with the land there, under the stars there, in that orientation, when a couple meets in that center and holds each other, and is held, and holds the darkness that way, and is held in their darkness that way, becomes a portal to transmute the darkness, to be a dream catcher there with that other body, with whatever is holding you. It could be you sleep with pets, or a certain environment and land that's healing, or a house that's healing. You could sleep with a lot of life that's holding you. You sleep with your kids. I think it's important to sleep with the stars and the luminaries. Stories they tell, which they do weave with us in our dreams, which we are the fruitings of. We're the suns, grown from the tiny twinklings in the dark of a little spark of inspiration. That's the stars. They grow into us, the suns of universes, which we are. It's really important to question our violent histories and rememberings, and the behaviors that continue to ourselves and others that vilify the unseen, the dreaming, the dark, that strip away the night from all these things and make it about fear and survival of the body that fears violence or coldness or hunger or some for survival. There's a part of us that guards our body and that is the guardianship of the body, that runs in the body of us, which is our DNA memory bank, that remembers different survival experiences with land in different bodies. And our soul body has its own memories that mingle with it. We are being healed by the land that we're breathing with. And we're healing with the memories of the ways that our ancestors healed with the land that they were breathing with. And whatever histories. And we are the transmutation out of shadow, facing into light and becoming it and growing there. And it's half of us is the memory that's being created in the shadow, in the dark, you know. And the shadow is dark. It's what's created by the light, and you are the body in between that actually creates the dark. And if you look, you have to turn around and face backwards, which is like the past, into the memory body to see the darkness, to see the unknown. So it's kind of funny that when we actually experience this darkness during the daytime, we actually have to turn around and go backwards to see it. So you might as well face forwards into the golden shadow, which people don't think about as much. You know, when they say do shadow work, I think this half of it is left out. This is the shadow work of shadow work. And there's even a half of the shadow work left out because it's about finding the shining shadow, the shining darkness. The shining darkness is the twinkling truth that's growing there, that's held there, everything held in the unseen, in the dark, in the gestational, in the dreaming, in the healing, in the ancient, in the memory, in the matter created, formed there, from what mattered. It's like the word mother, mater. Mara is the ocean. Mater. One thing that unifies life here is that we're like babies and we have one mother, and that's nice. We're also in cycles of mothering and babies, so we all are both and all that. In our own body is where that transmutational gate between the past and future, and between the shadow and the light during the daytime walking forward. We have a couple inside our nervous system. There's the rest and digest one called autonomic. It's parasympathetic. It's the one that's regulating, grounded, and just boom, boom, boom. It makes you breathe, your pulse, digest. It's very regulated, grounded. This one holds consistency, peace, harmony. Steadiness. And then we've got the sympathetic nervous system, which is the reactive one, which is the more peripheral nervous system. It goes through the spine and all the peripheral nerves, and it's the sensory systems, like, I'm reacting to the surface of sensation and outer sensation and perception. Stimulation. La 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 la. The bright surface interaction of the receptive interactive body, the reactive body. It's related to the adrenals. In the mindscape, goes through the third eye, and here in the amygdala says, what happened down the hackles? And your kidneys are in there with the adrenals saying what's going on in your low back. And you can see the animal body of how the hackles and the low back go all the way up to the shoulders, like, what's going on through the third eye here? This is the whole technology we can still feel of our perceptive sensory nervous system, our sympathetic nervous system, which is a reactive one. And so you can see, what I see is the one's more steady and one's more changeable and sometimes just like chaotic, right? And holding a lot of action, whereas one's steady and slow. One's very reactive, and the other's handling that and just doing its thing. It's maintaining, steadying. The other one's changing all the time. And so these two in us, they're syncing up to create a eye in the storm of that chaos, which we're actually biologically just oriented around like a plumb line. It's our steady, calm place where we remember it's all good and we are remembered there. And if there's conflict and dissonance with that in our ancestry or our present memory in our bodies, like this is just causing illness, which is just I-ness. You know, instead of wellness, which is we-ness, like it's like we-ness is when we're all together. You know, I-ness is when something's not quite with it. And you have to kind of sort of like feel every level of that. Why? What is this that's not with it? You know, is it emotional? Did you get an injury? Why, you know, what's the injury attaching to? Usually things are kind of co-mingled together. Like you got in an accident that in the context around it was this, and then you had to go through this. It's like all woven, right? This is a dream. So you're healing from it, and it's a story together. So the components are actually going to need to be interpreted like a dream. So if you can be the dream weaver during the daytime, that's the thing. Everybody's weaving their twin in. Everybody's, you know, the sympathetic one is happy to have the vitality of being constantly stimulated by change as it adapts, and it holds that. That's really nourishing. You're feeding with your sympathetic activity. You want to be feeding and nourishing the system, giving it things to digest. This is like how the day feeds the night. So this is how the sympathetic feeds the parasympathetic. The parasympathetic, of course, very obviously feeds the daytime by giving it a place to rest and digest in this nourishment place. This place of stabilization and groundedness. That's just what the night gives the day. We have these two energies in us. They're like a couple, the twins, you know, darkness and light. And people historically in lineages, of course, would say, well, the feminine one is more calm and steady and stabilizing and does a lot more of this parasympathetic activity, like more of a mothering, like energy and holding, stabilizing, rather than this quick, reactive, active, sympathetic one, which is more masculine, active, run all over the place, doing all this stuff, and sensory, loud, just has to do all this stuff. And younger is what the energy is. Polarity is because we see this mother-child archetype everywhere. It's like, why, you know? Well, it's because we are all unified as all life here, even plants. We're all the children of the mother. So we're all unified in that. That's amazing. So we have wellness there, right? Wellness can all tap into a vitality through oneness. So that's great. That's wonderful, right? Yay, we're full of wonder there. Wow, this is cool. I wonder how infinitely I can heal with this oneness. Amazing. You can. That's what's amazing. And you can use it to bring back I-ness or to understand I-ness, because as a polarity to I-ness, you can really understand illness. Say, whoa, you as the teacher, you're teaching me. Where'd you run away with the truth? And actually, you know, the truth is when they're unified, which I find interesting. People talk about, oh, these energies, which one's better? Is it better to be quiet or loud? Calm or active? Or passive, or, you know, or steady and maintaining or changing. That's a huge polarity in the world. Resting versus moving. Masculine versus feminine. Men versus women. Some people just want to understand things. Some people just want to do things. Some people want to digest into them and create from and exalt through harvest and creation. And that's the digestion. In a restful way, you have to create. Gestate. You to create a life. If the life were created, if this world were created by creators, which were embracing the sort of darker side as in this analogy of things, it would be the side that was involved in like digest and rest. And so I think of my mother, who is an artist, and I grew up in her studios that always had a bed in them, and her houses that always had a studio in them, and she was always taking naps in the middle of creation, and then she'd stretch and do yoga and nap and walk, and then do creation and nap, and then make dinner, and then like she would just weave a walk or a nap or a stretch in. so beautiful, into her art practice and flow, to be an artist. And it's like being in a temple to watch my mother be an artist. This was resting and digesting. This is a creation thing. Sure, it was active in the daytime and she was creating, producing paintings, but they really had to weave in quite a lot of rest and digest into the creation. So anybody doing creating knows you have to do a lot of resting and digesting. Our ancestors used to pray in a trance-like meditation breath practice with drawing those beautiful calligraphies with plumb lines and weights in trance states, doing those knots and weavings. It makes me feel it because we have these ways, we balance in our ears with water. You can actually go into a trance state in the middle, juggling the whoop, the this and the that, just like they did, weaving those knots. It's so beautiful. We can merge the two systems of parasympathetic and sympathetic. These ones that are active and digesting. Amazing, isn't it? I like art because it's digesting. It's actively digesting. It's resting as an action. It's also actively doing the resting. So maybe you're restfully dancing, or you're restfully cooking, or you're restfully doing a craft. It's resting and digesting for you. It's grounding, regulating, gardening, whatever. These are things you have to actively do, but they're things that rest and digest you. They merge you, they bridge you, they give you vitality while you're slowing down and grounding you. It helps you breathe slower, gives you nourishment to rest and digest. Maybe you take naps. Anyways, darkness, when it's woven in, makes things healthier, more whole, better. This is holism. It's important that we bring our worlds together. The ones that we see across different regions and skin tones. These are like different economies too. It's interesting. We have the shining darkness, which is each of our shining truths. And the love shared there in real relationship, in real memories, and real feelings, and the body there that desires things from that place. So what's materialized actually it can't lie. It has real experiences and memories and feelings, and it creates them. So the rest and digest body, the feminine body, the material form, the materialized from that action, and is fed by it. That's doing the resting and digesting. This is the vessel, the container. It's saying, hey, I am my own mother and child relationship. I am like a Russian doll inside a bigger version of being a child and with a mother. And in this continuum, in this great chain of life, I am creating beauty as a way of digesting my gratitude in a devotion of presence, in love, in true love. Like a child always, in the mother's arms, holding my many children. A bride in the universe, constantly saying, I do. While we walk in our many veilings down our aisles of labyrinths, of groomings and mates and many worlds created by us. We have whole universes, each of us, the sun and moon of them, and stars of them. And we're just that surface reaction, but the whole inner dream world and darkness of our unseen that is making the meaning and story and holding the story of us, that's who we are. So darkness is really quite a lot. And if you think about the rest and digest part of life, when you're really in your memory body that is digesting how you care for life and create life. These are the feminine parts, the darkness parts. Well, they carry the emotional story, the relational story, and how good it feels can't be faked or lied about. It's just the truth. You can find the truth here of your life. And this is maybe why people are afraid to look at it, or why it's so colonized away from us, because it's so powerful to know that, to be in a powerful relationship with that. For most of human history, we've been in a very powerful relationship with that. We've been an instrument for great ecstatic connection and healing between all lives, including between ourselves as humans and all our relational ways. Just extraordinary, ecstatic ways we are here. We've been here in a devotion practice, in an artful way, for a long time with the environments, and it's been absolutely beautiful, very healing. When you colonize that away, when a lot of the cultures of that, practices of that, and lifestyles of that, our love lives are suffering. It's very strange, but what's distilled from them anyways, I find interesting as a crystallization of their truths. That's what's beautiful about this world. It's a very kind of rugged cowboy way of looking at it, but it's truly beautiful. What we have that remains, even in this colonized state of our cultures of darkness. We're in this world so actively, brutally vilifying darkness in these ways. Making the night so unsafe for us, for children, for women. Making the world so unsafe for animals and plants and feelings, dreamings, naps, resting, digesting, healing, restoring, creating. Why is it so hard to be doing healing arts and being a healing artist? You know, that's what we truly are. But like really, we are unified all in that. We're so estranged from that. Doesn't pay well enough, does it? Impractical. You're not good enough at it, are you? Anyways, these are the stories of it in our modern world. There's absolutely insane narratives. This world's backwards, upside down, flipped on itself. Anyways, it's getting flipped back. You can feel it. And we're in that flipping. We're in the flip. We're unifying. Shining darkness. You know, we've got the shadow. We've got the golden shadow of hope in front. We've got the shining darkness, which is this amazing truth in the unseen, in the dark. That is the reason we have joy. To move with, to fight with. It is the unseen inside of our seen. It is the emotions inside of our experience. It's what we digest about what's really happening at the end of it all. What we dream about inside of a thing, and then the dream it makes. So sure, the surface is important. Loud, la, la. Do. But look what was done from what was dreamed and what was spun. And isn't that fun? To then be a weaver.